This story happened around 1983-ish, back when I was in grade school. I think I was about 9 years old at the time. I don't know exactly how old I was. Anyways, back then, my brother Tom had a friend named Chris, who was friends with my brother since the 1970s. And they met in grade school. I think it was 4th or 5th grade that they met. Anyways, I remember Chris was always over at our house. He knew my other siblings. He knew my mother really well. And of course, he was really good friends with my brother. So I guess he was sort of a friend of the family, or trusted friend of the family, so to speak, back then. I don't know. I was really young back then. I don't know their relationships. I did not know their relationships that well because I was really young. Anyways, one morning, I was waiting for the bus to go to school because the bus would pick me up in front of the house. I was waiting for the bus to show up in front of the house. And I was waiting and waiting and waiting for the bus. Then all of a sudden I heard a knock at the door. And it was Chris. And Chris goes to me. He was just like, "Could I use the bathroom really fast?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, go ahead." And he was in the bathroom, and I did not know what was taking so long. He was taking a long time in the bathroom. And I was just like, what the hell is going on? Then all of a sudden the bus came. And I felt like Chris was responsible enough to lock up the house after he was done in the bathroom and leave. So that's what I did. I hopped on the bus and I had Chris have the responsibility to lock up the house after he got done in the bathroom. Anyways, I get to school. When I got home from school, I don't know how the cops got involved. Maybe one of my other siblings or my mother discovered something that was missing in the house. But I do remember going to the grocery store with my mother because I guess the cops somehow called our house, maybe, because Chris tried cashing a canceled check, one of my mom's old canceled checks. So he tried cashing it at the grocery store because I think the check was written to the grocery store. He tried cashing the check, the canceled check at the grocery store. So I remember going to the grocery store with my mother in the station wagon, and I guess the cops met her up there. And as far as him and my brother's friendship, Chris and Tom, it was done. Of course, Chris stole from our house. And I remember my brother saying for many years after that he hoped to see Chris again because he wanted to pound Chris for what he did to us. And I remember Chris, I guess he was a drug addict. I'm not exactly sure. I think he was on pot pretty much, but as far as other drugs, I'm not sure. And after him and my brother's friendship ended, from time to time, my brother would hear rumors about Chris. And yes, and as far as me leaving for school and leaving Chris unattended to lock the house, I never told my mother for years about that, because I felt if I would have told it as a kid, my siblings would have came after me, my mother would have came after me for being irresponsible. They would have just yelled at me, I thought. I just kept it to myself for years. And then many years later I told my mother about it. And looking back, I was a really young kid back then, and I did not I did not know what was right from wrong. You know, I was still immature, still learning. Yeah, and I felt like I could trust. I felt like I could trust Chris to lock up the house when he stole from it. And that concludes this video. Bye.